Hello and welcome to episode 29 of the Canas podcast. It's Celso today, and Victor's not here, but we have a special guest. His name is Chris. Say hello, Chris.
Hey, hello, everybody.
So just like last week, we're mostly going to just talk about the playoffs, the NHL playoffs. Not really much to talk about in basketball since Toronto's out. And baseball, all I can say is Blue Jays are doing average so far this season. And currently they're losing to the Rays, so guess we'll just talk about them next week because we don't want to talk about them this week. We'll mostly just talk about the NHL playoffs, basically just Edmonton and Toronto finishing up their series. Calgary's playing tonight, so we'll recap their game 7 on next week's episode. So how about them Oilers?
Absolutely phenomenal night last night.
And you were at the the Moss Pit, I guess they're calling it now.
Yeah, Moss Pit tailgate party right outside Rogers. Very interesting setup. Could use some work, but it was a party.
Yeah.
Nothing short of a party. And it was absolutely incredible. Or as Leon would say, there's a phenomenal word in there.
Yeah. We're not going to say that word until we're bigger. So right now we'll just keep it PG. But yeah, no, last night's game was just crazy. I was nervous throughout the whole game.
Too much nervous energy.
Yeah.
Too much nervous
But
energy.
until CC scored, I was just like, oh, it's the nervousness fell down.
Those first two periods, they were a little bit of work in progress for the most part until we scored, but it was still a fairly calm. It never felt like LA was controlling the game.
No.
So it was a little bit easier to maintain some composure, but being up 1-0 going into that third period, ooh.
Yeah, and that McDavid goal, just that solo effort, just going around the net and just.
Thanks, Jersey.
But yeah, who for the whole series, who do you think kind of disappointed you? Who didn't really show up that you wanted to show up?
Nuge had a couple rough games. He played a lot better last night.
Oh, he did, yeah.
A lot of the team played better. Keith had a very good game last night. Yamamoto struggled here and there. Yes, he wasn't as important as I thought he would be in the series.
Especially last game, Yamamoto just...
The last two games.
Yeah, the last two games.
Third period, I don't think... Yes, he saw more than maybe a minute or two.
No, and Yamamoto just became... I guess the Yamamoto of old, just little feisty honey badger, just going around the ice.
He was
going
kind
crazy.
Of all over the place last night, getting into things. Sadly, an open net that he rang the puck off the post, but would have eased a lot of tension if that went in a little bit earlier. But hey, got it done. Not going to complain too much.
That's true. And another one that kind of I wished he showed up more, especially since we traded for him, was Warren Fogle.
Yeah, Fogle didn't really have any kind of presence in that series.
He was just there.
Yeah, short from maybe a couple hits in maybe game 2.
I know Victor's gonna just be mad, but the last 2 games, Duncan Keith did play really well, but just the last the first 4 games, he wasn't really playing as we thought he would.
There's a lot of players in there that needed to step up a little bit sooner. That you shouldn't have to rely on McDavid and Draisaitl, and I felt like in Game 6, even though we won, and Draisaitl was hurt for the majority of the game, on one leg, he still played better than a lot.
I was gonna
of players
say, even 70% Draisaitl is better than most of our team, unfortunately.
Yeah. Hopefully, going into the second round, a lot of the third line, fourth line. I mean, Archibald. Say what you want about Archibald, but those last few games that he was in, hitting machine. He was all over the ice. He was winning battles, and he was just the pest that we need on the team.
Yeah,
he was in there. I don't think there was a shift last night where he could make a hit where he didn't miss that opportunity. He's one of those guys where you touch the puck, he's going to finish his check.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And he was fun to watch last night. He almost got rewarded for it, but unfortunately it didn't go in. But the way he's playing, I would keep him in.
Oh, yeah.
He's all over the ice there helping us.
And, like, throughout the whole series, just Evander Kane just hitting everyone, scoring goals, not really, like, giving up the puck, like, in inopportune moments and stuff, but he just showed up big time.
Yeah, and last night for Kane especially, he played about as clean of a game as hockey as you could play. He was still the physical presence that he needed to be, but there was no stupid penalties. There was no causing problems. I mean, there's a thing to say about playoff hockey and getting in people's faces around the net after a whistle and things like that and causing little scrums.
It's always going to happen in the playoffs for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, there were times in the series and even late in the season where he would take a couple dumb penalties. Mm-hmm. Last night, the whole team, I mean, Game 7 refs aren't going to call much anyway, but there were quite a few penalties throughout the series where I felt that we didn't need to take those.
Yeah.
And last night was about as clean as a game as the Oilers could play, and if they keep that up going into the next few rounds, this team could be a problem for a lot of teams.
Oh, yeah. And do you think we'll be able to sign him in the offseason?
You'd have to make a few moves.
Yeah.
You definitely have to make a few moves. Signing Kane, I think you would be letting Cassian go and probably trading a draft pick with him. Probably to a team like Anaheim or Arizona that needs to hit a cap floor.
Do you think maybe, like, if we're not going to send a pick, do you think maybe one of Jesse or Yamamoto is going to go?
Probably. I was going to say that to keep Kane, you're probably looking $5 to $6 million.
Yeah,
I would say, unless he decides that he's close to winning a cup and he wants to stay playing with McDavid and Draisaitl and he takes a little less, which you don't really see too much nowadays.
No.
I would almost think that you are letting both Yamamoto and Puljujarvi go
in order
as
to
well
make
as
the money.
Cassian to fill up that spot for Kane.
And honestly, like, since how Kane just came out of nowhere, like when we signed him and just played really well, and even in the playoffs, like this past series, just playing phenomenal, I would want to keep Kane. And
I would try to.
Yeah,
I would try to.
Unfortunately, as much as I love Baby Yams and Pool Party, if we have to, like, I wouldn't mind trading one of them, but if we would have to let go both of them, I would probably do it.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna lose that when he's on his game. You're gonna lose that honey badger. I mean, Puljujarvi, even for not scoring many goals, not getting a ton of points, when he's on the ice with McDavid, that line is absolutely flying, and he does a lot to help. Aside from putting the puck in the net, and he frees up the space for Connor to be Connor.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I don't see him sticking around for anything less than 5.5, and at that point, you're looking both Yamamoto and Puljujarvi and probably Cassian being gone just for that spot. So you'd have some work to do. You'd have to hope at that point that maybe some of the young guns on rookie contracts, Carter Savoy or people like that, can step up and make the team next year.
Like, I would probably think Holloway will probably most likely make it if he's healthy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Bakersfield even used Savoy. They just signed him to that ELC, I believe.
But Holloway, when he was in Bakersfield, he was playing really well.
Yeah. So, I mean,
I guess we'll just have to see.
Yeah, rookie camp, preseason, those are going to be interesting times to see, especially seeing what happens in the offseason. Is Duncan Keith, I mean, I don't think he played through too many injuries this year. I think Duncan Keith might be sticking around for the next year on that contract. If not,
do you think maybe, like, if we don't want to trade Puljujarvi or Yamamoto, do you think maybe like a Barry will have to go? Because I think, like, if we were wanting to make the money work, like, to be able to sign Kane, I would have to say, like, at least Barry would have to.
Barry could be another one on the chopping block, especially with I mean, you're going to be keeping Nurse. You just signed him to that 925.
Yeah. There's nothing you can do with that one.
Bouchard he's stepping up. He played with Keith last night, and that was probably our most consistent D-line all night was Bouchard and Keith. CeCe had his moments there. Nurse played well for the most part last night, but I think that Keith and Bouchard line was probably our best. They started as the number one line last night, and they played like it.
Yeah.
Barry could go. That might save you pool party or Yams.
Yeah, because Broberg is playing.
Yeah, and
well.
if Broberg can get more time next year, I mean, you've got your offensive defenseman set at that point, and it's just
getting more defensive-minded defenseman.
Yeah, I would keep Kulak.
I wouldn't mind keeping Kulak. Yeah,
he's played well for us since he joined. I definitely would not mind keeping Brett Kulak around, and I think he could be a good presence, especially if Keith sticks around for Bouchard to play with. If you keep CeCe, Nurse, Bouchard, Keith, and have Broberg and Kulak together,
that would be pretty good. Yeah.
I think those would be 3 good, solid defensive lines.
Yeah.
And then, God forbid, any injuries happen. At that point, you're looking at the A to bring up a few defensemen to help.
And we do have a few defensemen, like Niemelainen, I believe.
Niemelainen could come back up. He played well this year when he came up.
He came up.
But yeah, for Kane to come back, there's going to be 1 or 2 pieces for sure that definitely are not here next year.
Oh yeah,
to keep him around. So,
and then goaltending this series, just Smith, just even the softies that he had led in throughout the series, he's been playing phenomenal.
Yes, yeah. Ever since that game 1 giveaway, he did his best, and I mean,
and he owned up to it too.
Yeah, what was it? It was a game 4 where we got shut out in LA. That was just a bad game all around. On the
just
team.
All around. Yeah,
can't even put that one solely on Smith. That third period, he did try to make it extra tense for us, though.
He did. Yeah,
there were a few times where I know he was probably trying to make it easy on the defenseman and just try to help do what he could to kind of clear it up.
It just made everyone nervous.
There were a few times where he should have left it, but that's Smith. He's going to play. He's going to play the puck, and he's going to do what he does. And thankfully, things went our way last night. Yes. No bad bounces for us or anything like that. And I saw in his head there were a couple times where he thought about throwing it up the middle of the ice and took that extra second and wrapped it around the board. So he learned. He definitely learned.
And obviously, looking towards next year, Koskinen is not going to be here, I don't think.
No. And that 4 goes to Nurse in his contract. So,
but the way he's been, Smith has been playing the last couple months, and then in the playoffs, if he just stays healthy, I wouldn't mind a Smith and Skinner.
That's probably what it's going to be. I don't see Holland. We don't have the money right now to be going after a number 1 goalie or an 1B backup, or we're spending another $4.5 million.
And the way that Skinner played throughout the year, and if Smith just, like I said, stays healthy and plays like he usually plays, this would be a very good duo.
At the end of the year next year, he's 41.
Yeah. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, at this point, I would say run Smith for this year. Start him next year he's continuing to be our number 1 for the playoffs. Start him next year. Give him that grace of thank you for taking us at least to the second round for now.
Yeah.
hopefully deeper. But yeah, I would say Smith for sure gets the start, and if he struggles or gets injured at any time, you run Skinner.
Yeah. And kind of Olive is playing decently well in the A, so it won't be that much of a scare if one of them goes down. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Rodrigue could definitely see some time next year if there's any sort of major issues. Yeah. Smith getting hurt, maybe an injury comes up and he has to retire or something like that, can't finish out the season, or hopefully, knock on wood, not happening, but if anybody just plays absolutely horrible, and then you have to call up somebody else. But I would say at the current moment, you're going to probably shore up trying to retain Kane. he said that he's been happy here and he might stay here. So
Hopefully.
Pittsburgh might be another team looking at him if Malkin walks this year.
Because they have lots of people that are the really good players that are in free agency this
for Pittsburgh being one of the teams that are going to be interested in him. But there's not much I see us doing with goaltending. Mm-hmm. I would foresee Smith and Skinner being the 1A, 1B.
I would say if anything happens, it would be like during the season that Holland might do something.
Yeah, and I think that would be just an insurance thing where if one of them isn't up to par, then maybe you're trading for another goalie. Mm-hmm. Kind of doing what Minnesota did. Bringing in Fleury and getting rid of Kakkonen. Yeah. At that point, I think it was Kakkonen.
Kakkonen, I think his name was. Yeah.
And just trying to shore that up. I don't think you'll see us be going for a Fleury type.
No.
But definitely more or less
just some like insurance.
An insurance, yeah. A good veteran backup goalie who's been around the league for a while. So that's what I see our goaltending situation being next year.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. So for the next opponent for the Oilers, and because we are recording on Sunday before the Calgary Stars game, who do you want?
Dallas.
Yeah, me too. Like as much as I want a Battle of Alberta,
I only want it if it's guaranteed sweep for us.
Yeah, I don't really want Calgary to win.
Nope.
But I wouldn't mind like the late 90s rivalry coming back with the Dallas Stars and the Edmonton Oilers.
And I think it will be good. You already have the hatred of Calgary and Edmonton. And it's come back in the recent years where both teams have been good. Since we got McDavid and Leon, ever since that Riddick stick or celebration,
stick celebration,
whatever it was. And Yamamoto mocking him the next time we played him. I think it was like a week later or something like that, or 3 days later.
And then the fight between Talbot and Smith.
Yeah, that hatred's back. We know it's there. The fans know it's there. The fans will fight with the fans.
Yeah, and then the Calgary fans are going to come up to Edmonton. Edmonton fans are going down to Calgary. It's just
Battle of Alberta hatred's never going to go away.
No.
Never. I think you're going to see next year there's going to be some bad blood with Edmonton and LA.
Oh, definitely.
And it's going to create better hockey between those two teams.
More rivalries.
And that's kind of what I want in Dallas as well. If Dallas makes it to the second round and we play them, it's going to be another team where we really have to play in the season. And I like that better for the group because that tells you no easy games. You got to go in throughout the season and you got to play hard.
Yep.
And you got to win these.
No, like, coasting. You just have to pedal to the metal, just play hard.
And Dallas is one of those teams. They'll be perennial wild card teams, and they can make it to the Cup final like they did a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. They can make it to, and I know that was COVID and everything as well, but you can make a team out of Dallas where
your star players aren't your star players.
Yeah, they'll just make it. But they'll take any team, number one, number two, as they're doing with Calgary. Calgary this year had a wild offense that would fly on
it was phenomenal.
And
it was crazy.
Dallas has shut them down. Shut them down for the majority of the series. And they play a hard defensive game. It's going to be dirty. It's going to be a grind.
And that's playoff hockey for you.
Exactly. And it's... You can see that there's already a hatred brewing between Calgary and Dallas. That's going to go into next season as well. Especially with that Zadorov hit on Glendening the other night. Yeah. That's going to go into next year.
I was surprised he didn't get anything for it, not even like a fine. But like looking back, it wasn't really that dirty. It was just
he was trying to go
place,
through.
Wrong time.
Yeah, he was trying to go through him more than target the head.
Yeah,
and it just so happens that Zadorov was like 6'3" or whatever.
He's just
6'4",
super tall. Yeah,
and he's gonna make head contact at that point. But the other problem is that the initial contact was the head.
Yeah.
You can try to be as clean as you want with a hit and try to go through somebody like Svechnikov did in the Carolina series. I think it was to Lindholm.
Lindholm, yeah.
Yeah, he ran through Lindholm with one of the cleanest hits I've seen in a while.
That was a beautiful hit.
For a big hit.
Yeah.
And I think Zadorov was trying to do that, but you're coming from the side. You're most likely going to hit head there, and he's
like a foot taller, basically.
If no suspension, I'm fine with that because of the way the hit was, but there's got to be a fine for a little bit of a reckless.
Just something, yeah.
Like
it wasn't like you didn't need to do that.
No, it's the stuff that the league's trying to clean up, and once again, they fail to really do anything to try to clean it up.
And then Batman just saying like, "Oh, we have like the most consistent refs
consistently awful."
Yeah. Consistent refs in all of the sports leagues or whatever.
And not just the Oilers series. You can make complaints for the Oilers, especially in Game 6, being out penalized 4-1.
Yeah.
As Oilers fans, we can sit here and we can argue that, but watching across any series, the Dallas-Calgary series has had absolutely awful officiating. The New York series,
and Tampa too.
Toronto and Tampa's been awful.
Even the Wild and Blues, I've seen a couple games, and the refereeing wasn't really.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not to rag on refs too much because it's hard. It's not an easy job at all, but at
least like call the rule book.
Yeah. I understand.
Make it consistent.
I understand third period close game. Refs don't want to decide the game. That's fine. Game 7s, they don't want to decide the game.
Yeah.
The series. That's fine. You're going to let things go. But if you're going to call something one way, it can't be blatantly ignored the other way.
Yeah, exactly.
Example, Game 6 of Dallas and Calgary, there was an interference called on Ryan Suter in the corner when he kind of ran into Milan Lucic. Mm-hmm. And he was called for interference. And one, he didn't even impede Milan Lucic that much. It's Lucic, he's going to go through him.
Yeah, he's big.
Yeah. And after, I think Calgary scored on that penalty, or on that power play, and then I think the next whistle or two after that, Dallas was going into the Calgary zone, and a Calgary player actually intentionally leaned into the star player and interfered with him, and the rest let go.
Called, yeah.
So that's the thing. I don't mind inconsistencies in maybe letting some things go when you want to just let the players play.
But at least,
if you're going to
balance it out.
Yeah, if you're going to call it, you have to call it both ways. You can't call it one way and not call it the other.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And that's always been an issue with NHL officiating. It's always going to be an issue. I don't see it getting any better anytime soon.
Like, and yeah, I know like the game is fast and everything, but you have like 3 refs on the ice.
Yeah.
3, 4 refs.
Last night in the Carolina game, I wasn't able to watch it. But I was listening to it on the radio, and I believe I think it was Tony DeAngelo got hit with a high stick for the second time in that game, right in front of the referee. The referee was looking at him, and the referee didn't call it. Like, you can't decide not to call a penalty when you're watching
looking right at it. Yeah, when you're looking right at it.
I digress.
I think that's like the first time we've talked about reffing in like 10, 11 episodes. So we were on a long streak of not talking about the refs, but
welcome back to the playoffs.
Going to the other Canadian team that finished their Game 7, Toronto and Tampa. As much as I wanted a Canadian team, like more Canadian teams to go past the first round,
anybody but Toronto. That's our ABTs. We also go by the ABCs in Edmonton.
Yep. I was happy that Toronto didn't make it. Like, as much as Toronto has like a really good team and everything, and I want more Canadian teams to pass through the first round, it was just.
This is good for the Toronto media.
Yeah, to humble them.
It's not even just to humble the Toronto media. This is the wildfire, and Dubas and Shanahan are going to have one heck of an off season on the horizon here.
Like, it's not even like they had a bad team. They had a really good team.
115 points.
Yeah.
115 points most years
Really good team.
will get you probably first or second. This was one of those really strange years where 15 points, got you what, fifth place overall?
No, I think they finished third. No, did they finish? Yeah.
Not in the East. I'm talking overall.
Oh, overall. Yeah.
I think they were the fourth place team overall.
I thought you meant the East. No, yeah.
No, East they were third, I believe.
Yeah. No, but that's crazy.
Yeah, that's just the way that the teams were, and it's one of those things where do you look here? You're stuck in. I know everybody says that a lot of teams are in cap hell, but Toronto's worse than that.
Yeah,
they are worse than that. You're paying Matthews, you're paying Marner, you're paying Tavares, you're paying Muzzin, and your goaltending is the weakness at this point. Jack Campbell didn't play horrible. I'm not putting it on Campbell. It's on the team, but
it's just like where can you fix it? Even though like you have like really good players, offense and defense, goaltending, like you said, is their weakness, but their goaltending isn't even that bad.
No,
like if you put like Campbell in any Western Conference team, that didn't make the playoffs, he could probably bring him to the playoffs.
You could give him at least another 7 or 8 wins.
Yeah,
I would say that for the teams that were close to the playoffs. Not looking at the Coyotes, where any goaltender there is just going to be having the worst year of their life at this point.
But yeah, it's just
it's one thing to say where you're playing the defending back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. They are not going to go away easy. Kind of like the Pittsburgh New York series. New York doesn't really have that experience. Pittsburgh's got players that have won multiple cups.
Yeah.
And Pittsburgh's not making it easy on them, despite the fact that they're down to Domingue in net.
Yep. Yeah, because DeSmith and
Jari and DeSmith are gone.
Yeah.
They're playing basically their third.
I think I heard Jari is coming back, but yeah, like basically throughout the whole series they were playing DeSmith and Domingue.
Yeah, since game 1, triple overtime. DeSmith leaves and then has abdominal surgery and he's out for the playoffs. You're riding Louis Domingue the rest of the way, and he's played well, but Pittsburgh played better for him. And that's kind of the thing is you're going to run into those teams that have the experience. Toronto doesn't have anything past first round experience for Matthews, for Marner. I don't even know if Tavares has gone. He might have made it past. I think he was he on the Islanders team when they beat Pittsburgh and made it to the second round still? Or were they? No, I think he was gone. I think he was in Toronto after that.
Yeah, there's lots of commotion going outside, but that's okay. I think he was part of that team.
I can't remember. I'd have to look back at it.
But still, like Giordano, as much as he has he's like a veteran on the team.
He wasn't going to be that defenseman that got you over the hump.
Yeah, no.
He's on the downswing of his career, really.
It was kind of a risky play to trade for him, honestly.
Yeah, I would have gone for somebody a little bit younger with a little bit more
upside.
Like even 2 to 3 years younger, where you still have
the potential to take the next step.
Not even so much the next step, but you're a veteran. Your game's not really on the downswing,
but you're just still playing well.
Exactly. It kind of like, well, I mean, they had CC, and CC struggled in Toronto, so I can't even say being what a CC was for us. But
some players have struggled playing in Toronto and then flourished in other places, like Kessel.
Welcome to Canada, where every team is just a complete and total debacle in terms of media and trying to keep players happy, because the media and you get the fans that run wild and make it really hard on players. I mean, Phil Kessel, that was all Toronto media. He didn't get along with any of them. He wasn't really a media personality kind of guy, and he had to deal with the Toronto media. Because
it's, like you said, Toronto media.
The Toronto media, the way I can kind of put it, is kind of like, I would say almost the media for New York. The Rangers can be a little bit difficult, but I'm talking more like Yankees, Mets, things like that. New York media is one of the toughest to deal with ever. And Toronto, when it comes to hockey, their media is exactly like that.
Yep.
Ours in Edmonton's no better.
Yeah.
We've got some good people, but...
And we got some very bad people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of tough, to, like, especially in Toronto, where, like, basically the two, like, sport channels in Canada, Sportsnet and TSN, mostly it's all Toronto, so it's all like Leafs, Blue Jays, Raptors. Well, Blue Jays and Raptors because it's the only Canadian team, so that's whatever. But like,
and the only ones that can get past the first round in the playoffs.
But just NHL specifically, just they're gonna show Toronto because Toronto has a huge fan base all around Canada, so I guess they have to play to their demographic, but it's like then you're just basically under the microscope just all the time. Yeah. All
the time. And this is what's going to be the toughest part for Kyle Dubas and Brendan Shanahan.
Yeah.
What do you do now that you had the team that realistically should have probably made the conference
finals at least, yeah.
And once again, you're on the first round. Once again, it's
what can you say if you're them to the media or to the fans?
It's kind of the place that we were in when we lost to Chicago. We shouldn't have lost to Chicago.
No.
But again, that was us playing a veteran group that had the experience of playing in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't know where Toronto goes from here.
Yeah.
They're going to have to really make some choices because you're going to have to... I mean, as a simple example, look at McDavid. He almost single-handedly... I mean, the team played great, and I'm not going to put it all on Connor.
Yeah.
But he almost single-handedly willed us through Game 6
and
7.
You can definitely see Connor McDavid just...
He took that next step.
He took that next step and tried to, like...
Anytime he was on the ice last night, there was never a fear of LA having complete control or scoring a goal or anything like that. Every time he stepped on the ice last night,
you knew you had a chance.
Yeah, he was a calming presence for
everybody
on the bench. I think in the stands, he was all over the ice. He played a hell of a defensive game last night.
Yeah, he did.
And I mean, there's so much to say about Connor, but it's everything that's been said before. Connor is Connor. He's just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Best in the world. And he, just when you think that the Oilers are down and out, he takes his game to the next level and he
gives us a chance.
He guides the ship the whole way.
Oh, definitely.
For as much as not being a big talker, he definitely lets it show on the ice. And that's something that the Leafs are going to need. They're going to need Matthews or Marner to really take that step and really
kind of take the reins from Tavares and just tell
they
the
have
team,
to dominate the game.
We're going to take you to the next step. Like they have to.
Yeah, they have to find that spot. Yeah. And I think they played the tougher team. I'm not going to compare apples to oranges. No. We played LA. We really should have.
We should have beat them in 5.
In at least 5. Yeah. And Toronto played Tampa, where that was never a guarantee.
No,
it's Tampa. You got Kucherov, Stamkos,
back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. Yeah.
And Vasilevsky. Even if Matthews, Marner, Tavares all played the best hockey of their lives, Vasilevsky, if he's on, Vasilevsky's going to steal that series. He struggled a bit.
He did.
But you have to find that open ground where you can really take your game up.
Yeah.
And Toronto's going to have to find that.
Granted, they're going to have to open up some space. So a lot of space.
A lot.
I don't see. Honestly,
they could probably try to come back with the same team.
It'll be really tough though.
And then the question is, this didn't work and you're doing it again.
Yeah.
Are they ready as that team to be able to take that next step? Or do you need to kind of take a few parts out of there and bring in some fresh players that might push that team over?
Because you have Marner that makes like 11 million?
Let's see.
11, 10 million? You can definitely get like at least 2 really good players
I don't see them getting rid of Marner, though.
That's the thing though. Like who can you trade? Who can you give up in order to make your team better? Like the only person I can really think of is because you're not trading Matthews, and you're not going to trade your captain. The only two players would be like Nylander and Marner.
I could see Nylander going.
I can see Nylander going, but like, would two more bodies be enough then? At least two more bodies be enough? Like, who can you pick up in free agency that's like if you're gonna trade, like, let's say Nylander in the draft, you're gonna have to really like this year, especially for Toronto, since they got out of the first round.
You'd have to blow things apart, something fierce for them to really.
Or you're gonna
make
have
a
to
big
draft
splash.
really well in order to.
Unless they've got a couple of guys that are ready to take that next step from their system and come up.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Toronto fan, so I'm not too sure what.
Not too sure. Yeah, but like, no, like looking at their trades that they've done in the trade deadline and everything, they don't have that many like legit like draft picks to.
No.
In order to make their team better.
Just looking at a list of free agents here. If you're going to trade Nylander, not retain any salary, anything like that, there's a couple choices here. I think the one that sticks out the most from what I'm seeing here for kind of the same style of player, Philip Forsberg. You're not picking up two players at that point. You're basically sending out Nylander and picking up Forsberg.
Do you think
he's had the experience of going to the finals?
He has, yeah.
Is he going to be that game changer? Probably not. He's not with Nashville. He's one of the goal scorers, but he's not a game changer.
No one in Nashville really is a game changer besides Yossi.
Yeah. Saros,
yeah. He got injured, so we can't really blame him for that. But
I mean, aside from that, your top free agents this year are going to be... See, RFA or UFA? He's RFA. Okay. So I'll keep Laine out of this because he's RFA. Malkin, he's 35. Expensive. Giroux, 34. Expensive.
And old.
Phil Kessel, he ain't coming back to Toronto.
No.
That's not happening.
Definitely not.
Kachuk, he's going to be RFA. I don't see them taking him from Calgary.
I don't even if you do like try to offer sheet him, you don't have the draft picks to.
You could look at Gaudreau, but my only problem with looking at Gaudreau is he struggles in the playoffs too, and the only time that he's turned it on is in a contract year. He had a few good years a couple of years ago. Past couple of years haven't been that great, and then this year he blows it up on a Calgary team that really came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I don't foresee Gaudreau keeping the space next year on any team that he goes to.
Or in Calgary if he decides to stay. Yeah.
I don't see this year repeating. I think this is just one of those I'm playing for a contract kind of years, and if he gets his...
I want to get my money kind of thing.
6 to 8 million, whatever he gets. I think he's already making 6, so he'll probably be looking north of 7
for sure. Yeah.
He'll make his money, and I just don't see him putting up this kind of... Not unless he goes to a team that has a bunch of players that he can play around.
That can complement him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see it happening again. I don't see it happening in Toronto. I don't see Toronto shelling out 8.5 for Gaudreau. They don't have the money.
No. It's just...
I mean, this year's free agency isn't that great. Just looking at the list of players. Is he... Oh, yeah, Kevin Fiala is still RFA, so...
Fiala's still RFA?
Yep. I know. I thought he was UFA too, but I just saw it and he was RFA.
Weird. Yeah, like, between the two teams that finished their series, I think Edmonton has, like a quote-unquote brighter future than Toronto, just because of like how like everyone's been stepping up. Like the signing of Hyman was a really good signing in my opinion.
That was probably our best free agent signing in the past. When have we had a good free agent signing?
I don't think we had a really
probably
good...
since 06.
Yeah, since like Pronger and
05, I should say technically.
It's just the money problems with Toronto. Like, it's just gonna be tough for them.
Yeah, they're stuck in a very difficult situation where I don't know what you do, because you are so stuck with the cap that it's just,
You basically just have to rely on.
you don't want to blow
picks.
apart the team.
Yeah.
And lower team morale or anything like that for the guys that are returning. But they're showing you that this core didn't have what it takes for third straight year.
Yep, third straight year.
And I mean, you look at us here in Edmonton. We almost burnt down the city when we lost to Winnipeg last year.
Yeah.
Guess how it is in Toronto.
Well, it's because like we have two of the best players in the NHL. It's like I understand like Oilers fans just being pissed off because we didn't beat Chicago and we didn't beat Winnipeg when we were supposed to beat those teams.
Chicago was a more difficult one to swallow.
Yeah.
That was definitely the more difficult one. Winnipeg, it sucked, but it was it was pretty much all 1-goal games that we really should have won.
But Hellebuyck was just
Hellebuyck
just playing. Like Vasilevsky can steal you games, steal you.
If he's on,
he's
on.
Yeah,
he's one of the best goalies in the league.
Yeah. So, yeah, just gonna be tough for Toronto going into this off season. Oilers a little bit, but like especially since like we were talking about earlier, Kane has been playing phenomenal for the $2 million that he's making.
He's the winger that you have been looking for 7 years now to play with McDavid.
Yes. Yeah.
He's that guy. We've had players that could play, and I mean, you look at Connor. He gave Maroon the best season of his life. He gave Cassian the best season of his life. You put anybody with McDavid, and they'll have a great season. But when you finally give them that player that's actually got some real goal-scoring talent
and the toughness
and
that can like stick up for McDavid,
Kane on his own can open up his own space.
Yeah.
He can open up his own space. Connor can make space for anybody. Kane can make his own. And that's the thing. He can clear some space for Connor to do things. He can clear some space for himself. For his own game.
Yeah.
And even if half of his goals are corner of the net tap-ins.
Or empty netters.
He's in the game for the most part. And he's that guy that you need driving the net.
And he is that guy that you can rely on to stick up for his teammates and not let other teams push your team around. Basically.
He just has to be careful a little bit with some penalties, but
yeah.
I mean,
like we were missing that with Cassian. Like we've since 17 when he just went crazy in the San Jose series, we were wanting him to be just that.
Yeah.
And
he showed 2 games of it against LA.
Yeah. But like just those 2 games though, like the last couple seasons he was not there.
Those 2 games that he showed of that in LA, 6-0, 8-2.
Yeah. Like it looks like he shows up like that when we're already we won basically.
Yeah. I mean,
and with Kane, you can expect him to score goals. You can expect him to just bring the toughness and just body people, and the occasional dumb penalty. But
last night he
exactly
like Archibald, he would finish every check.
Yep.
Some of them you could question was a little bit late, but that's playoff hockey. It's going to happen. It's not like he was running guys for the sake of running guys to try to injure them. It was they dumped the puck, and he could have probably let up maybe 2 or 3 strides earlier, but he still finished his checks, and the refs were going to let it go. So you do it. Anytime the other team in the playoffs is going to touch the puck, you got to hit him. And I feel if we have guys like Kane back doing that for us and just bringing some momentum back to the team with big hits. I mean, even Connor laid a beautiful hit on Dursey.
I saw that at the beginning. Yeah. It
drives the momentum.
We've always just been easy team to play against because we weren't really that tough.
We lacked physicality.
Yeah, we lacked physicality, and then we get a little Archibald, and then we get Kane now.
Yeah.
And then Cassian decides to show up, and we have Cassian and Nurse sometimes too.
Yeah.
We will be tough play. We will be a team to be like
tough
scared,
to play against.
tough to play against.
Yeah.
We won't be the prey. We'll be the predator basically.
It's just a matter of
Now,
it can't all be Connor Leon, and I mean that's still the problem that we're seeing.
like Hyman is relieving that a little bit, and
He is, but
and
I know we're not expecting in the playoffs the third line, the fourth line to put up all of our goals. Did they put up? They definitely didn't put up any goals last night. I don't think they put up any goals in the game in LA in Game 6.
No, it was just basic. It was like games. When we won 6-0 and 8-2, that's when
Yeah,
the third and fourth line decided
you got to have more of that.
to score. Yeah,
Fogel's got to score more. Nuge.
as much as I love Nuge, yeah, he has to.
That series was pretty tough, and I've heard rumors going around that a lot of the guys were dealing with the flu in this series at the beginning. If that's true, hopefully it's all gone, and by the second round, everybody's back to full speed.
We have like a couple days to rest, so
Yeah, I
it should
don't-
be fine.
think we play again until maybe Tuesday. I think they might give Calgary and Dallas tomorrow off kind of as a travel day. And then we might start Tuesday, Wednesday, depending on how they do the schedule. Hopefully Leon's knee isn't horribly
bad.
yeah, or whatever is
Whatever,
nagging him
yeah.
there, whatever Anderson did to him. Hopefully that can be healed up by the time the next series starts.
Yeah.
I understand the third line is really good defensively. Nuge, Derek Ryan, and Archibald were playing really good defensive games.
We just need.
They came close a couple times. Nuge had one that squeaked through quick last night.
Yeah, you did. No, we just need like our third and fourth line to just help out a little bit.
Yeah.
Can't be always our second and first line. Like that during the season, that third line of Vogel, Nuge, and Ryan, I think.
I think it was probably Ryan, yeah.
Like they had like a good stretch of games where they were playing really well.
Towards the end of the year, Fogel scored in 6 straight?
I think
Something
so,
like
yeah.
that.
Something like that, yeah.
It's just a matter of finding that again. I mean, you're not...
Like I guess it makes sense because it's playoff hocky and it's just a
you're
little
not
bit
gonna
more
see
stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if we just have just that last couple months of just everyone chipping in, then
if everybody can get flying, everything is going to look great.
Yeah.
But I feel like there was a lot of... If Connor or Leon wasn't on the ice, we were hemmed in our own zone for a bit.
A bit, yeah.
And again, it was one of those series where you're playing that really defensive style of team, a team that's going to grind you out in LA. Dallas is going to be the same. I think if we play Dallas, it's going to be a lot like this series we just had. If it's Calgary, it's going to be a lot of run and gun, kind of back and forth offense.
Yeah, it's just going to be high scoring.
We've got the offense to do it. The defense is a little questionable on the run and gun style.
But as long as we just play soundly, just no like glaring mistakes or anything, then we should be fine.
If we take the approach to Calgary to play a grind out style, I think we stand a better chance than doing the running gun style.
Yeah.
Because it's showing against Dallas. Dallas is grinding them out, and they've made a 7-game series out of it when
it should have been like
Dallas,
4.
Dallas
they should have been
done.
swept. Yeah. Anyway, so we're happy that Edmonton made it to the second round. We're happy that Toronto didn't make it past the first round. And we're hoping for a Dallas-Edmonton series next week.
You should have heard the moss pit when Toronto got eliminated last night. I think there was almost as much cheering for that as there was for when we won our game. It was hilarious.
That's actually pretty funny. Like, were you guys actually watching the game?
Yeah, we got there. I think there was about 10 minutes left of the Toronto game. They had it up on the TV while
that's
the
awesome.
band and everything else was going. And we had just made it to a point where we could really see the TV finally. And everybody counted down the last 10 seconds of that Toronto-Tampa game. And everybody cheered when Toronto got eliminated. It was really funny.
I should have gone there last night. It would have been fun.
It's fun, but you can't move. I will
Like
say
I saw
that.
it on TV. Like you can barely. It looks like you could barely move.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It was
a
an
great
experience,
atmosphere.
yeah.
It's a fantastic atmosphere. It's a lot of fun to be there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's too small of a space.
It did kind of look small. Yeah.
I want to say there might have been. I mean, what the stadium seats 18,000, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
And I want to say you had maybe at least another. I'm going to say at least another 5 outside.
Another 5.
I would say at least another 5. I saw a picture of
Holy
it
crap.
where we were. There's probably another maybe 1 to 2, but I saw a picture of it from where we were standing. There's a bunch of people on the sides of the building too.
Oh man,
So
that's crazy.
I think there was more there than we really knew. We probably didn't get out of there till midnight.
Really? Like
It
from
was,
there?
Yeah. We also waited just to let the crowds clear a little bit, but
But still, from
it took a long
that's a long time.
It took
Yeah.
a long time. And I will always be surprised that people want to spend whatever it is, $12, $14 on beers there.
So was it free to get to go?
It was
there?
free to go.
But it was just like pay for food and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
I can't count the amount of drunk people that were there, and my question is, why are you spending that much money on Rogers Place beer to get drunk?
Yeah, you could have definitely spent it on cheaper beer.
Yeah.
Or cheaper alcohol in general.
It's a party, and parties are fun and everything, and I understand, but I would never pay that much money just to get hammered at a hockey game.
Well, thank you, Chris, for joining me in the episode 29, I believe it was.
You're welcome. I know it's a little rambly, but
Yeah, it's fine. We were going to talk about the Oilers more.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there won't be a midweek episode this week, just because this could basically count as our midweek episode too. Next week we'll talk about, I guess, the first few games of the second round.
yeah,
And we'll see if Calgary makes it past Dallas. If not, I don't mind. I don't think Chris minds either.
We'll either have 2 home games to start us off, or we'll have 2 away games. And either way, I'm probably going to be at Rogers Place for at least for the away games. I don't know if I am going to go during work nights to get stuck there till midnight again.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Go Oilers.